Hey everyone, Ronnie Chavez here, and today we're going to be learning the screwdriver Kong or 360 dive Kong. Now you're gonna obviously want to have your dive Kong mastered before trying to learn this move, and it'll be extremely helpful if you know how to 360 dive roll, even if it's just on a trampoline or onto pads. Just having that motion down will be helpful, but not necessary. I will be showing you progressions today from a basic Kong all the way the steps into doing a 360 dive Kong or screwdriver Kong. So let's get started. So starting out, I would recommend that you find a decent padded block about waist height, maybe a little bit lower. Just like the dive Kong, you're going to want to be able to get your hips up, and with the 360 dive Kong it helps if the block is a bit lower for that. So our first progression move is going to start standing away from the block and then basically doing a 180 into a Kong pop-up. This is where you plant your hands and pop your feet up onto the block. You're not trying to clear the block yet. We're just trying to get the motion of turning into the Kong vault so you can get a feeling of what it's like to have twisting motion as you plant your hands. As you get comfortable turning and then doing the Kong, you can try and start jumping a bit more into it, diving a bit farther away from the block, and rotating a bit later in your jump. And depending on the type of block, you can start diving to the farthest side of the block to see how far you can get. The next progression, you're going to stand facing towards the block a couple feet away, and then you're going to just do a standing 360 towards the block and then plant your hands down and land back on your feet on the ground. At first, you want to focus on just keeping your 360 spin straight and directly towards the block. And then once you're comfortable with a nice centered spin, then you can start practicing trying to kick your feet and hips up a little bit higher each time until eventually you're landing in a half stalled handstand and then coming back down. Now you're going to do the exact same motion, but with a little bit of momentum going into it. You're going to take just a few steps at first, and as you get comfortable with the momentum going into it, you're going to try and start bringing your feet on top of the block with the pop-up motion like we were doing with the 180 Kong. If you've made it this far, you're basically doing the screwdriver Kong. Now it's just a matter of pulling your feet all the way through to clear the object. And what can help with accomplishing that is increasing your momentum, coming at it with a little bit more speed, making sure your feet and hips are at the right height, the right angle, so that you can pop them through when you plant your hands, and also making sure you can dive at the obstacle straight on. If it's a bit scary to commit to at first, you can come out to the side a little bit instead of pulling your legs straight through. It'll be a bit easier to do this, but I wouldn't practice this too much as it can create a bad habit for your spin in throwing you off axis instead of keeping you nice and centered. So altogether, the technique when doing the screwdriver Kong, you want a good amount of momentum just like you would a dive Kong, and then as you jump and set into the dive Kong, you're going to immediately start driving your arms into the twist and make sure your chest is leaning towards the direction you want to dive and not a different direction that might throw you off axis. As I'm jumping into this, I'm trying to tuck my knees, feet, and hips up into the air so that I can extend and come out of the screwdriver Kong as centered and straight as possible. And the higher my hips are, the easier it's going to be to bring my feet all the way through and over the obstacle. And a quick overview of the progression steps. First you do the dive Kong, then you do the 180 Kong pop-up, diving 180 Kong pop-up, 360 hand plant, diving 360 hand plant, momentum 360 diving hand plant, 360 hand plant to Kong pop-up, and then finally the screwdriver Kong vault. So there you have it. There's your basic progressions into doing a screwdriver Kong. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to stay tuned for more tutorials, and thanks for watching.